Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is a video to give people a chance to understand what they're going to be doing in November. Who do they want to vote for? Now, I'm not going to be specific in giving basic information here. Any information I'm going to leave is going to be left in the description box. I'm going to make this very clear. What do we have here right now? We have a very unusual situation when it comes to this voting cycle. We have two directions we can go into. We can go down the direction that we've already had in the last near 4 years. Or we can go to another direction by someone else. We have Mitt Romney and we have Barack Hussein Obama. Both of them have different views. Some of their views are very similar when it comes to foreign policy, because some of it was from the final presidential debate, the third one. Some things are similar when it comes to their health care plans, somewhat, not 100%. Maybe, if you're going to talk, maybe 30 for Romney, over 70 what Barack Obama had decided in his health care plan, 30% of it that, if we're going to be honest, Mitt Romney will probably keep 30% of what Barack Obama's already built, probably get rid of the rest. Now, the thing is that if it wasn't Mitt Romney, it'd be someone else. And that person would take what he could from whatever healthcare plan that's performed by anyone else. Look at the George W. Bush plan that was for prescription drugs. Barack Hussein Obama did not get rid of that. It had some merit, so he decided to keep it. And yes, you can say you hate George W. Bush, but he did do some things that people liked. Just like with Barack Hussein Obama, there's many things people don't like and many things that was liked. Same thing is going to be for Romney if he wins. He's going to be doing things that people are not going to like. He's going to be doing things that people will like. The question here is not about likes and dislikes. The question here is what works. And as you know right now, things have not been working well. And many people can say, and I said this in my final presidential debate and several other debates, when it comes to a president, no matter what they get from a previous administration, they make it their own. The previous president, you can say you hate him, you can say you wish he's dead, or he's prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law that could be possible. But after the first 180 days, many of the policies that you don't agree with, or you do agree with, have been basically addressed by the current president, which is Barack Hussein Obama, and he and his cabinet, counting Joe Biden, his president, his cabinet of Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, had worked out what they wanted to keep, what they wanted to try and get rid of, and what they did get rid of. This is here, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about deficits or any type of bills have been already addressed. And I know a lot of Democrats are going to simply say, and some Republicans, you don't get what you're saying. George W. Bush put us into a big mess. Yes, he did. But so did Jimmy Carter, who gave us something even worse than what we've received now. And if there's anyone old enough to remember what happened with Jimmy Carter, I was just a small child at the time. We had a very bad situation with gas prices, what was going on in the Iran-Contra, what was going on in many other different parts of the world that were not addressed by him. We had a severe problem. We had way more worse problems now, well then, as we do now. Sorry I said then, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm saying this clearly. There's always going to be a problem with some president. And there's always going to be a president afterwards that is going to have to take that as their own. There's always going to be presidents going to blame the previous administration. That is commonplace. The question here is now that what did the president do better? What would the next president do better? Now we can say with the health care plan, Barack Hussein Obama, for many people feel like he did well. Others are going to say he did terrible. Many people are going to say what happened with the BP oil spill. He did a terrible job. And others are going to say he did a good job. when it comes down to it, you're always going to have an odds. The most important thing is to see what the evidence says. Look at both sides, no matter if you don't like, if you're a Republican, you don't want to hear anything from basically regular media. But it's important to hear both sides, because a lot of times you will get some truth within the lie, counting on how much truth is there and how much lies is there. The same thing for a Democrat. If you want to know the whole truth, sometimes you have to listen to places that have conservative talk radio or conservative news, or look at sites that have some conservative and some libertarian or liberal information. It's important to know what's really going on, because when you go by rhetoric, where I've already understood that when it came to Mitt Romney, someone tried to state basically that he caused the death of a woman because a business that he had to basically, if it went to Chapter 7, and many businesses do, if he retooled it, the man who was the husband of that woman lost his job and lost his insurance, his wife gets sick, she basically dies. They're blaming him for that. You can't blame someone trying to straighten out a problem of a business. You can't. No matter how much people really want to say that, if a business is going under, you want to blame someone, blame the person who ran it then. If you want to blame someone, blame the people who didn't take what the business was offering as a product. If you want to blame someone, blame the husband for not working hard enough. There's always someone you want to try and blame. But blaming a man who tried to correct the problem of near going out of business, you can't do that. If you're going to blame him, you've got to blame everyone, including the husband, for not trying to get a job early enough to protect and save his wife from dying of cancer. That sounds very harsh, ladies and gentlemen, but let's be honest. If you start blaming one person, you have to blame everybody. And I know people are going to say, oh no, Romney's the one we should blame. So Romney is the one who put the business into the dirt. This example of that man who had a wife who died because he didn't have a job anymore and could not get health insurance, and she died because of cancer. You want to blame Romney? Why not blame the man who, or woman, or group of people who had the company in the first place? Why don't you blame them? Why don't you blame the people who probably sold it to Romney, or asked him to come in and run it for them? Why don't you blame them? Why don't you blame the supervisor who had to let the man go? Why don't you blame him? Why don't you blame the doctor who basically probably could not give any type of medical help, like the medicine that is needed, or the radiology, or radiation treatment to the woman, or the chemotherapy from the same doctor? Why don't you blame him? Why don't you just tell him, do it for free? You can't. Because there's certain things you just can't do. You can't blame the doctor because he doesn't have authorization just to give free medical service like that, not unless he knows he's getting it from Medicaid. Someone has to pay for the medicine. If no one pays for the medicine, who makes it? You can't blame the supervisor from the job for the man who lost his job because he's only following his orders from the ones who are above him. How can you blame the supervisor? You want to kill the supervisor or send him to jail because he was following orders? Are you going to blame the one who simply had the business, did everything he could, maybe he just couldn't get his trade done, and essentially he had to call for help, and that help told him to lay some people off and to sell some of his equipment and some of his stock of his business to keep it going. And he did everything he could. You want to blame him or her? This is where it comes to when it comes to rhetoric, ladies and gentlemen. Rhetoric doesn't give you the answers. It just gives you feelings of negativity. You don't get the answers that you're looking for. You're asking the questions. If you're asking these questions, who is the right candidate to go for? Has he done a good job? Has he done a bad job? What job will he do when he gets into office or maintains his position in office? Now the problem is this. There's so much rhetoric that's going around, and most of it is from the Democratic Party. I am an independent. I am for neither party. The last voting cycle, I didn't vote for either party. I voted for a third candidate, third possible candidate. And it wasn't Ron Paul. It was someone entirely different. Now this is what I'm saying. Everyone is getting information that is most of the time polluted by rhetoric. So the best thing I can say for you is this. Romney has been known to be a good businessman. He's been known to be a good governor. No matter if you agree with him being a Republican, being a conservative, being a Mormon, it makes no difference. Forgetting about the rhetoric, look at the actual work he's done. He did take over during a time for Massachusetts that were having severe problems. He did manage to straighten out most of Massachusetts. He did hire many women in his cabinet. That is actually written proof that you can probably look in their government, in their records. It's there. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go look for yourself. Barack Obama done his bit. He wasn't really in business, but he was a lawyer. So he understands how it means to work in a stressful situation, which is basically working in court. He was a community organizer, so he has some level of understanding how to organize and make things work. Some level. I'm not saying a great amount. I'm not saying a little amount. Just some. That gives you a fair understanding. When he became a senator, he only been in there 2 years. Many people say it's the best thing because he had not been tainted by all the bureaucracy. But then also, because he wasn't there very long, a lot of people will say that he didn't get enough experience understanding what it means to be in government. As I said, there's your balance. Both candidates have many great points and many losing points. The point here is not to go by the rhetoric. And I've been looking at some of the videos that have been released in the last couple of hours, the last couple of days. This video will be uploaded later in the next week because I have to look for the information if anybody wants to know about a third-party candidate or candidates. When I say candidates, I mean candidates. You're going to have a representative of the Republican Party. You're going to have a representative of the Democratic Party. But you have a third-party candidate. Usually it's Ron Paul. I don't know if he's still in the running. I believe he is. But then you have other people from different parts of the third parties that are there. You got one person that's going to probably be in the Green Party. That's an independent party candidate. You have another person that's going to be in the Constitutional Party. Then you have someone that's going to be in the Conservative Party. Usually the Conservative Party will go by the Republican, but there can be another person there as well. You may have someone that's for social working. I believe that's what it is. There are several people. There's also some that might be from the Libertarian Party. You're probably going to have many different choices. And this is the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard people from the Democratic Party. This is mainly from Democrats. This is not said mostly from Republicans. And they do also say it like this. If you don't vote for those parties, you're wasting your vote. There is no wasted vote, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying this as independent. I'm saying this as a voter. The original purpose of our government, the being structured with the ability to vote for someone, is to give people the power to choose. The only time when you waste your vote is when you don't vote. And I wish to suggest to you not to listen to either party, not to the Democratic Party or a person who's a Democrat or a Republican voter or Democratic voter. If they both tell you, you must vote for this guy, you're wasting your vote. Do not listen to them, ladies and gentlemen. Vote for who you want. If you're a Republican, vote for a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, vote for a Republican. If you don't want to vote for either one, there are several other candidates to vote for. But understand clearly, and I'm saying this very clearly, for third-party candidates that are from, like I said, the Libertarian Party, the Conservative Party, the Constitutional Party, the Green Party, those are some of the ones that may put out a candidate. Understand clearly that they usually do not win. It is very rare for a third-party candidate to win. Usually you have to be a very famous person already known through either party first. And there's no person, as far as I understand, that's in that position. So if you do vote for a third-party candidate, you will understand that you're probably going to lose. It's obvious. But that does not mean you do not have the right to choose that person if they have something you believe in. And this is what I'm talking about for either party. I'm sure someone from either party is going to be saying, this guy is stupid. If you vote for one of them, you're wasting your vote. No. If you don't vote, you waste your vote. When these parties were created, the Democratic and Republican, the Democratic Party was formed first. During the time of the birth of our country. By the time of the Civil War, we got the Republican Party. And the very first Republican was Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln was not a Democrat. And he wrote, or requested someone to write, the Emancipation Proclamation. That's a Republican who did that. And he didn't do it because he was trying to get favor from his own constituents or people from the Democratic Party or anyone who was already brought into the Republican Party. He did that because he believed that slavery was wrong. He was very unpopular because of it. He was. Anyone who was black at the time didn't have the right to vote. He didn't do that for black people because he knew they were going to vote for him. He did it because he believed it was the right thing to do. This is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. Voting for anyone is the right thing to do. It doesn't matter who it is. So I wish to leave this to any voter who is a Democrat, a Republican, or independent who already knows who they want to vote for or is still undecided, no matter who they are. Look at the evidence from both candidates or the third-party candidates. See who you feel makes sense to you. Your vote means a lot. Not because it can make the two prime candidates win, but it gives you the ability to feel like, for once, yeah, I know that one of these guys is going to lose, and it's probably going to be the one I vote for. But you know what? I believe in that person enough that I'm going to vote for them, no matter if they win or lose. Because I have that right as an American. And I know a lot of black people are going to probably say, and I'm sure they do, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? Vote for the black man. You're nothing but a nigga anyway. I am part black. I'm mixed. They say this to Spanish people as well as black. I have to say this to black people right now that are seen, and as well as Spanish, and any other race. But particularly black and Spanish, because I have three different races in me. Sorry. I have 3 different races in me, and I wish to say this. Knowing how black and Spanish people are, where it can be very, very stubborn, and sometimes ignorant, particularly using that very word I just said earlier, black people particular, nigger. That word meant a very disgusting thing. And if you really believe by saying that type of word, that shows one thing. You have not noticed how many people died for you to be free enough to say that word. To tell someone else, vote for that man, because we got to vote for all the black people. We ain't going to be niggas again. Using that word is disgusting. For many people who see this video that are black, I hope that you don't think I'm insulting you, because I'm not. I'm not saying you're stupid. But I do believe that you need to understand something. We have many people in history who are black who try to become president. We finally got one person that's biracial, who has black in him. But one person said it best, and this is Martin Luther King. See the person for who they are, for what they do, not for the color of their skin. And I've said this in all my videos practically. If you don't see him as a person, and just see him as a black man, and that we must get him back in because we need to take care of all the black people, because only a black man will understand, see it like this, my friends. If you really believe that, if you believe only a black man can help black people, then we've already lost. Martin Luther King should have never, ever did his speeches, risked his life, and then died for that. Every person, no matter if they were black, white, or Spanish, who risked their life for your freedom, for my freedom, to be free to vote, to be free to be considered just a person, should have never done it. For the simple fact that if you can't see past a man's color, if you can't see past your own color and be seen as a person, if you only see that you're nothing but a nigger, a black person, not a person, then we've lost everything. I know I'm black. I know I'm Spanish. I also know that I have Chinese blood in me as well, and unconfirmed Native American blood. As far as I know, I also have Native American blood, but I cannot confirm that. But you know what? Honestly, I am a person. I do not see myself as a black person, or just as a Spanish person, or an Asian person, or possibly Native American. I see myself as a person. What I believe in is completely irrelevant. If I'm Christian, if I'm Hindu, if I'm Muslim, religion makes no difference. I see myself as an individual. And it's important, if you see this, ladies and gentlemen, as a person, you have the right to vote for whoever you want, and not to be bullied into believing that if you don't vote for this person, you're wasting your vote. You're stupid. You're not stupid. Not 1 second are you stupid. And if someone tells you that's stupid, tell them you don't know anything. Because I have the right to choose whoever I want, no matter if they win or lose. The only thing you care about is believing in your rhetoric. And what do I mean? The only thing you want to do is just perpetuate one thing. That the Democratic Party or the Republican Party is the be-all, end-all. And you have no rights without the party telling you what rights you have. You have the right to choose your life. I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, you consider that and choose your life. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you who's better, Romney or Barack Obama or any of those candidates from the third party. Not. You choose it yourself, as I'm going to. But the question here is, will you learn something from what I just said? Will you learn that it's important to learn about what both of them say and what they've done than seeing their skin color and any type of name calling they've been told? If you want to hear people say that that's nothing but a damn skinhead and that's nothing but a stupid fucking nigger, sorry for my language, but that's what people are saying. Both black and white and Spanish and Asian, I've heard them as I'm walking the streets with a bad leg and a cane. I've heard them say it. Choose the person by who they are, what you learn from them as people, and what they've done on record, on paper, on the internet. So I hope you enjoy this video of who can you choose as president. I think I'll use that as the name. I hope you subscribe and comment. Usually I do videos on wrestling, but I do from time to time do other videos. If you're a wrestling fan, I hope you like my videos because they may be a bit lengthy. I'm sorry about that. But at least I give you a good amount of detail. Yes, a lot of times I will botch a lot of the names or maybe some of the pay-per-views. I have been known to do that. I'm still learning this. Eventually I will get it down packed. And I hope you like this video. And I hope you have a good time voting. And believe in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let anybody tell you that your vote has to be for who they believe it is. Put it in for yourself and who you believe, no matter who it is and what party it is in. Have a good night.